we've lined up some good friends of the BMA, Damian from BIKBBI and Hannah from the Apprenticeship Partner, and they're going to tell us all about training apprenticeships and how to do it as a small business. So without any further ado, I'm going to hand over to Damian to introduce Hannah.
Thank you very much, Tom. Hopefully you can hear me. I'm not really going to go into too much detail because Hannah's the important one here. I'm going to give you a bit of the doom and gloom, I suppose, as to the reason why we're here. I think Kevin very nicely spoke about a skills gap of 40 years. To be fair, he's absolutely right. We really only talk about the skills gap as being a recent thing, but it is, in actual fact, it probably is 40 years old, and certainly the cause of it is 40 years old anyway. But we have a little bit of a problem here in all reality. The issue we have, quite simply, is that there isn't enough skilled labour, and that doesn't look like it's going to change any day soon, unless, of course, we do something about that. So, from our perspective as an organisation, it is to promote a lot of things, but to promote the industry to the next generation of installers is absolutely key for us. What you'll find in this room is a lot of innovation, some fantastic products, some fantastic services, but it's all reliant, 99.9% of it is reliant on the tradesperson to come in and actually deliver that to the end user, whether that's a consumer or indeed a house builder. So the importance of tradespeople isn't going away. Tradespeople are more important now than ever, as we have an appetite to improve our homes and construct. So we must, as an industry, as a sector, as a country, really look at how we basically bring on this next generation of installers. So the Institute as an organisation is very much pushing that, and we're working in very close partnership with Hannah and her business on actually providing a solution as opposed to just presenting the problem, which typically is what we've done before. Do you want to roll the video? The video gives us, it will do its talking.
My name's Archie, I'm 17 and I'm from Essex. I've been an apprentice for just over a year. I wanted to get into the KBB industry simply because it can expand on my personal life and work life, because I'm not learning one thing, I'm learning it all. So I'm taking it all on at once, and so I can use it to my advantage, whether it's at work or at home. Being able to help everyone around me out, making the customer's dreams come true, whether it's a kitchen or a bathroom.
My name's Paul Miles. I'm the owner of Ace Electrical and Plumbing. Established the business back in 1995. About 6-7 years ago we had to go limited because we'd grown, and now we are a limited business with 5 employees, and we're looking to get bigger. The challenge, I guess, is recruitment, taking on more people. We have got too much work on, and to expand but to get the right quality of people on board, that's the biggest challenge for me. So as a business, we believe in the investment with apprentices. First apprentice was Mike, who's now a business partner. We then took on Elliot, who's been with us 5 years, and now in his tiling ability is second to none. Apprenticeships gives you the chance to mould a young person into exactly what you want them to be, and eventually they'll have the skills to keep driving your business forwards.
There we have it. But I think the most important thing for us is that we must be under no illusion that we've got a problem. The solution, one of the solutions, without a shadow of a doubt, is apprenticeships, and we absolutely understand that that isn't a straightforward process for anyone, especially small businesses who we are reliant upon actually creating these apprenticeship vacancies. So we have worked very tirelessly in looking at solutions on how we support small businesses to actually achieve an apprenticeship scheme that works for them, that doesn't detract from their day job, and provides a solution that really helps them to deliver within their small business framework. So without further ado, I shall hand you over to that solution in the form of Hannah.
Hello, everybody. So Damian obviously has talked about the why, and I think we all know about the why, and mentioned that we have the need for apprenticeships in the sector. What you just say is talk about how. So how can go about that? So we can also do the overviews of how the small businesses can replicate their apprentices. But as Damian said, within BIKBBI, a big collaboration that we have together with BMA, we are able to help you to do that. So those solutions for it. So there are three elements of an apprenticeship. This may sound very obvious, but you look at an apprentice, you look at the employer, and you look at the training provider. So each of those things is incredibly important, and each of those things needs to be chosen well. So the apprentice, we'll talk a little bit more about the treatment as we go through. It's important that you are choosing the right person to the role you have. So it's not about taking on your neighbour's sandwich if they're looking for a job, if somebody, it's about finding the right person, someone that's engaged, enthusiastic, wants to do well, wants to get into the industry, like in the building. In this employment, it's really important that you've done your background research, you know if you've got a position, you know if you've got the training available and the time to do that apprentice, and then you need to run a really good training behind it. that's one of the hardest things I give the small business is to be able to find that training right thing is not necessarily your local college, and again, true that's very a bit, but there's extra training providers out there. When all those three things marry up together, apprenticeships are a really wonderful thing. You can work brilliantly, to go very smoothly, and yeah, that's what we look like for anyone. Also, initially the preparation, so this is where the employer comes in. So you may want an apprentice, you may need an apprentice, but you need to do your background research to make sure you're ready for that apprentice. So they need to have a role. They need to have a proper role within your business that they can grow, develop, train, and become a skilled professional at the end of the program. So that's a really important thing. You need to make sure that you've got everything in place, health and safety requirements, the environment's there, you've got line managers set up, with communication knowledge, everything is in place so that apprentice to thrive and have a lovely time with you, and to help them and will stay with you long term. So that's what we're looking to do. We're should be growing the industry, so that's the whole aim. Because these people come into the industry, learn and train, they become really good, and then they stay. And that's the hope. So all of the lead suppliers on the team needs a contract, HR documentation, all of those things. So all of that kind of background stuff needs to be in place, so we need to be prepared, ready for you to advertise. Then you're putting together a job description. Gone are the days of just being able to put out an advert saying we're looking for an apprentice, meeting the trainee, it's about having a proper job description. You describe what you want that apprentice to do. They know if they want to get into the industry, they might not know exactly what themselves about it, it's still done. So you need to be describing that so they can really see what they're going to be able to do. The more detail you get into your job description, the more interest you will get from candidates. If your job description is really large, doesn't really go into detail, it will be overlooked. So it's competitive out there, so I would say, so you need to be getting a lot of detail in. That's why they want you to do it. Talk about what progression opportunities there are. Are you looking for someone staying in long term? What are you going to offer them when they use that apprenticeship? So people lose a prospect, so that they know when they start with you what you're going to offer them for the future. I see. And the job appeal, so any benefits. And so anything that you provide in that way, what are you going to do to support them, all of those kind of things. So putting that together is really important to make sure you spend some time really looking at what you're going to add in to students. Training providers, so I mentioned earlier how important that is. A lot of small businesses will usually go to their local college because that intending is going to be the best person to deliver that training, and it's very well be, but it may not be. In the trade sector, particularly in installation, there are specialist training providers out there that are not necessarily based out of local college. These specialist training providers have coaching and worked in industry and are experts in their field. As small businesses, that's what you want. You want experts helping to train when you apprentice. Okay? So during the research, there are ways of doing that. Go onto the government portal and say, BIKBBI, make it inspiration on the best training providers in your local area, and have some conversations with them. Make sure that they've got availability, make sure that they can the training in the way that you wished. So training providers will have different delivery models. You might decide you would like somebody to go once a month to a college or a training centre. You might want it to be full-time workplace and all of the training and learning up until on site. It might be you want to do block rooms, so every few months you want to send your apprentice away for a week to a training centre. Whatever works for you, you need to find that training provider and do that. Ask them questions, ask them what they're going to do for you, how will they support you, how will they support that apprentice, what will they do if things go wrong, how will they support you if you've got questions, what are their lines of communication, hold them captive. So you can ask them those questions, you can make sure that they're working with you in a way that's going to be positive and give you the outcomes that you want. So that's a really important point. One of the biggest pieces that apprenticeship scales because the training provider doesn't provide the support that either the employer or the apprentice with experience. It's really important that you do that research. Then they keep them. So again, this is about where you're going to advertise. So you put together your brilliant job description, you've got everything in place, you've got an amazing job board, you're ready to stick on this apprentice, where do you put that advert? So you need to put it on the government portal, so it's actually apprenticeships portal, because that is where everybody in education is going to be sent to look. You also need to put it on a wider job site, so something like Indeed, because anybody that isn't in education as your kid is more likely to look there. So by covering both of those spaces, you're going to get a much wider pool of candidates to choose from. Gone are the days of you just getting 16-year-olds straight out of school. More and more people are looking to get into the sector out of college, so it's looking at sort of 18 plus after A-levels and college qualifications. Equally, a lot of older people, if you look at people in their 20s, even in their 30s, are looking to retrain or have worked in the trades in the sort of sector and they know that they want to become an installer, they know that part of installing, that's what they want to do. So by spreading that out there in different places, you're going to attract lots of different candidates, and that will help you to find the perfect person for you. You need to be prompt with your feedback. It's when people looking for an apprenticeship, they are looking for an apprenticeship. So if likely looking for a job will be the only job they've applied for. They'll be applying for many. Quite often they will take the first one they are offered. So you need to be prompt in your communication, engage with them. If you're interested, I interview booked quickly. Have a conversation with the training provider so that they know. Don't leave it weeks and weeks before you contact them. You will lose the best people because the best people will get snapped at. So at the point you're ready to advertise, have a plan in place so that you want to interview and what you want to be recruiting by, what actors from there. Training providers can help you with that. We can help you with that. Working at that time where you might be structured. But yeah, interview as you go is what we would always recommend. It's ultimately be avoided. So once they start with you, what you're going to do, you need to have a good induction plan. So those first few weeks of that apprentice working with you are so important. That is when they're going to learn about you as a company, how you're going to support them, what they're going to be doing in their job. So having a good induction plan together. Again, training providers can help you with that, which is help you with that, but make sure that that's in place so that when they start with you, you've got those first few weeks mapped out. You know who they're going to be working with, what projects they're going to be doing, you've got the tools and benefits that they need, you've got any digital they require, but the problems and doing, to have conversations with them about their progress, talk to them about how they're getting on, make sure that they know that they can ask them questions if they're unsure of anything, keep that communication open, positive, supportive, be prepared for some different ups and downs in those early days. Some of these young people, it will be their first time working, so it is about allowing them to adjust, but also setting out your expectations. So if you make it clear what you expect from them, that's what they need to follow, and you can base on any conversations you have about progress around that. Okay? So that was a nice little tour of how to take on an apprentice. Now, as Damian mentioned, we have ways that we can help you. So if you're interested, please do bother visit your website and register. And that will initiate a call from me. I'll send us a BIKBBI to you, most likely me, and then we can start to go through what you're looking for, start to go through ways that we can help you, putting together sort of a bespoke program for you depending on what you need.
Fabulous, Anna. Thanks so much for that great presentation. Really great summary. To be honest, it's answered quite a few of the questions which I have written out. So there you go. I'm going to start by putting a question to you, David, and that's around a little bit of myth busting, because you quite often hear, particularly among tradies, that young people they don't want to work properly. They want to be a social media influencer and stuff like that. Tell us about the level of interest you have in the apprenticeship program.
I think there is this misconception that kids sit around TikToking all day, and some do. Of course they do. Probably I do more TikToking than most teens these days. But actually, we undertook and regularly undertake schools engagement sessions, and we go out into schools and colleges to talk to young people about the opportunities that our industry face and have for these young people. And it's very true that when we first go in and have these conversations, they're fairly slouched. It's not uncommon for me to be faced with a load of teenagers that are kind of sat there thinking, what the hell has this old dude got to do with me? However, as the conversation progresses and we talk about the opportunities, and let's not forget the money that can be made from our industry, all of a sudden the phones get put away and they sit up and they take interest. But I can certainly tell you from our experience that we have expressions of interest from hundreds and hundreds of kids that are really interested in a career in KBB installation. And the bit that we really struggle with is actually stimulating the interest from industry and businesses to actually take one of these youngsters on. And that, for me, Tom, is criminal.
So what then, if a company decides, right, we're going to meet this challenge that Damian set down for us, we're going to hire an apprenticeship, what's the first step?
So the first step is to do some evaluation, is to make sure there's a need and an actual role there. The second is to go and think about that you're ready to interest. That is, start that conversation where we can go through it quickly, make sure that it's going to work for you, answer any questions you might have with the person. So after you've done both of those things, you have a really good idea of if it will work for you. You can go through all of the funding solutions, all the costs that are involved, which are less than you would always think. Imagine. There's been some new funding changes recently which helped from the business also. There's definitely a positive there. And then, yeah, so that would be my advice as their first playbook.
I know we've got some manufacturers in the audience as well, and a bit of a shout out to Ideal Standard, who brought some buyers with it. So one of the questions I was going to put to you, Damian, is what can manufacturers do to get people into the trades, the people that we need to fit the equipment that we're putting on the market?
Do you know what, we've got to start off with some honesty. That's what we've got to start off with. And I think businesses need to drop their old archaic thoughts about apprentices and what they can and what they are, and maybe the experiences that they've had in the past, and actually realise that their business depends on a next generation of installers. It is not just them and their intrinsic world that they need to consider. Apprentices are an absolutely critical component of our industry, whether you're a supplier, distributor, manufacturer, retailer, or indeed installer. In fact, I regularly say that the health of this industry it can often be measured based on the health of the installation world and installers' availability.
So what are the common challenges, the sorts of challenges that Ideal Standard helping small businesses overcome, by the way? What are the sort of challenges that are going to be faced and that people need to think about?
We get more in apprentices.
Yeah.
So it's not the simplest process. So that is one thing. It is time consuming and it does take time. And I think a lot of the time there is intention, but the process gets started and you're all busy people. When you start that process and you realise that that's actually a bit more time consuming than you thought, it can hinder things, and then it becomes that, something we'll do next month, or something we'll look at next month, and then it calls a lot. So we would always say that if you want to take on an apprentice, there is help out there. So here with us, have those questions, ask those questions, and we can absolutely offer help. But that's one of the biggest things. The other thing is, finding the right apprentice is so important. It's so important that you do interview a range of candidates and you put that advert out there and find the right person. There are keen, very wonderful young people out there looking to get in, and that's what you need to find. Take the first person that asks you for a job. And you want the passionate ones, and we see them all the time, and they're out there desperate to get into industry and they can't. And a lot of the time businesses that have had a negative experience where they have taken on the wrong person, it puts them off. Because they associate every other person they might take on should be the same, and it's not the case at all. So if you are looking, again, let us know. It may well be that we have somebody that we know or do your area is looking, because we do. We have a list of key graduates out there. So yeah, that's all I know how I do what I say.
But it's very much a seller's market rather than a buyer's market, isn't it, for young talent?
Oh my goodness, 100%, Tom. One of the things that we often get from employers when they're interested in taking on an apprentice, one of the very first questions that we get is, what's the national minimum wage I can pay an apprentice? And that is the wrong starting point. If you want to attract the very best in the market, the very best talent that's going to perhaps pave the way to the future of your business, don't start off with the minimum. For Christ's sake, please don't. Because you are genuinely viewing apprenticeships in the wrong vein if you do. Think about the value that individual could bring. think about the future of that individual and what's going to not only keep that youngster interested in your business short term, but think about what they may be interested in moving forward. Provide them with a future pathway within your business. Installers regularly say to me, why on earth would I want to take on an apprentice? Because they're going to be my competition in 5 years' time. It's such an intrinsic, old-fashioned way of looking at apprenticeships. What you should be thinking about as an employer is, how do I attract, how do I retain the very best? So actually my business can double, triple in the future, and that's what you need to look at. And it's so important the businesses view it that way, Tom.
And I suppose with the age profile of our workforce, so that I can go and have a pleasant retirement and keep my income, right?
Yes. You know, at our conference earlier on this year, we had a guest from Wix, and she came onto the stage. She was responsible for HR and in particular apprenticeships, and she said that her workforce, her installer workforce, within the next 3 to 5 years will halve because of the age demographic of her current installer base. Just think about that for a minute. Think about the damage to her business. And she is by no means alone. She is just probably one of the honest ones out there.
Damian, you brought it on to the dicey issue of money when you talked about wages there. And what resources and financial support is available for a company that's thinking about apprentices?
Yeah. So the wages are up to more responsibilities. You're going to need to pay them. But like Damian said, please don't pay the minimum. That's not what you really want to do, and that's not what's going to get you the best part.
You know, a cheap bin bag is only going to split on you, isn't it, right?
There you go. Perfect analogy. Yes, you need to pay your wages, but there is support out there. So it was recently changed that now any apprentice up to 22, if you are a business that employs less than 50 people, so most insurer businesses that would run that, the apprenticeship itself will be refunded. So there will be no cost to you for the actual apprenticeship program. And also, if they are up to 22, you will now get £1,000 incentive grant. So you get that paid in 2 parts. You get £500 up to 3 months, or £500 up to 12 months, and that will spend directly to you and your business to use for your business in any way you see fit. It can help to cover initial costs of things like uniform, that kind of thing, but it can just be money that you keep on. It's just a government incentive grant. So those are 2 things to know. There are also other funding available within the industry. So if you are a CITB member, there is significant funding available through CITB for taking on any senior apprentices and certain other apprenticeships within the industry as well. So it's worth looking at there. And there's others that may be available. So do your research, ask maybe government, ask your local campuses if they've got any specific schemes that would help you.
Speaking of funding, and I think that's a really important topic because money is important to us all. We've been working with our partners at Bloom, who have funded or will be funding 50 new registrations to work with BIKBBI. So if you're an installation business and you're interested in apprenticeships, or if you're interested in support, then come over because Bloom will basically pay for it for you. So amen to that. But similarly, we would of course invite other suppliers, distributors and manufacturers, of course, for which I may or may not be holding a sign for, to also get involved, because it is, money does talk, and for small businesses that are, suffering as a result of rising costs and operating costs, every penny counts. So for you businesses that are in the room that perhaps are interested in a future workforce, then come talk to us, because we are here to help you and everybody in this room, actually, Tom.
Well, I attended your conference and you had a really inspiring apprentice, Sophie, basically doing a talk about her experiences as an apprentice. She talks about that it's quite often a lonely experience if you're a young person entering a business that sounded like it was occupied by old farts, to be honest.
Yeah, it is.
What can a mentorship program add to the apprentice experience, and how would you go about setting one up?
Do you know what? I think that's an absolutely fantastic. I mean, we started looking at this last year. So we appointed a diversity ambassador, a chap by the name of Stuart Lawrence, for the Lawrence family, you'll certainly know for the wrong reasons. But actually, what we wanted to do is to open up diversity within the industry, not because it's a cool thing to do, or it's a buzzword or a tick in a box for us, but it just makes perfect sense that actually we start to look at a diverse workforce, because it opens up the opportunities to bring new people in, if anything else. And one of the things that he actually said to me, and I didn't consider it because I am a middle-aged white bloke that doesn't understand that world, is that actually a lot of these young people, without shadow of a doubt, need support through that process, and in particular through the early years. So we are certainly looking at a mentoring process. If I'm being honest with you, Tom, I don't know, because a lot of this comes down to brass tack money, and if the industry get behind it, then it can afford to put these things into place. If the industry doesn't, then the likelihood is, in reality, that it won't. That's me just being really honest.
But I know mentorship in particular is an area that manufacturers are dead keen to get involved with, and that's not out of the goodness of their heart. Is one, because we need that market of installers, but also some of the best salespeople in the manufacturing world have had a background on the tools, so it's about their pipeline as well. So it's something that I think there could be a critical mass behind and look forward to.
Yeah.